Yeah, you need to finish that book, man. I definitely,
And post the
you know
title
what
in the WhatsApp, sir.
I shall.
you say. What did you say, brother?
I shall post the title.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like that way that one sound right there. That sound like a deep book. I don't know if you heard me, but I was telling the other listeners, I done wrote two books, brother. If you could check them out. Also, the
I'm
podcast, my
gonna buy Hypocritica. I'm gonna buy that tomorrow.
oh, hey, bro, like that. See, this is what I'm talking about, black people. See, little things like that, it might seem little, but that's big, man.
I
Because if we
think
could
so.
see, it is, man. It's so huge, man. Because we supporting one another, just like we doing right now, just by being like-minded, having a discussion on what we having a discussion about. And I'm gonna do the same for you. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna support the brother. 0526. Everybody that's on here, like I said, I'm gonna shoot y'all a follow. I want y'all to do the same to me, and we
Yes,
can
sir.
should continue to try to meet like this and have these discussions, man. This can't be the last one, because I want to get this ball rolling. We need to reignite that fire back on, but the black race or the non-black people, man. We getting our
Yeah.
asses handed
Wait,
to
wait,
us
wait. Hold, hold
every
hold on,
day.
Mr. Gabriel, because you keep saying non-black, and that term means not a black person. But I think you're meaning black person when you say it. Is that correct?
Now,
I think he's trying to say non-white.
yeah, non-white goes. If you say that word, just say that phrase in a room full of all kind of people, and watch the
Oh
reaction.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's right. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
White
Hey,
people
man.
hate it. They hate it.
Hey, you know what? The sister said, I'm gonna just look, reignite the fire back into the black race, man, that has been extinguished. Okay. That's what needs to happen. Because we getting our asses handed to us. Like I said, it's just crazy how, like this might be not even the first group that black people are having discussions like this on this book on trying to defeat this system of white supremacy. We need to continue this till it gets to the point that it actually gets some type of momentum going on a daily
You haven't
basis.
heard of
Like
the cows, have you? You haven't heard of the cows yet, have you?
the cows,
Yeah.
no,
Well, that's gonna blow your mind. Everybody here knows the cows. Wait till you hear the cows.
COWS.
Yep.
No, 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 no. This is what got CRWS started. Um, if you look at the screen, you'll see it. But
Yeah, I'm looking.
this is fellow pitiful victim of racism, a black male, a prisoner of war, Gus T. Renegades program. Very, very constructive. You should I'm just gonna put all the links. This is you can find it on blacktalkradio.network. And you can also find it here. You should definitely peep this one. This is where their older broadcasts are. Just go to ARC. I'm gonna post the links in the Zoom chat, and I'm gonna post it on the YouTube live chat as well. So, but yeah, you need to check out this one. We have I've uploaded some of their stuff on some of his stuff on my channel just because it's constructive. I added like some visuals to go with some of the things he has said because it's very constructive information. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely
Now,
check it out.
you gonna be you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's worldwide too. It's worldwide, exactly. It's best Christmas, Easter I've ever had.
Seriously.
I'm not joking.
Yeah, this yeah,
I ain't
yeah,
never
this
had this much peace around my so-called family and been free to say exactly what I think about them and how they treat us and what to do about it. We've never had family. No one has ever known, not even the white supremacists, what family is. They're illegitimate. They're illegitimate mothers and fathers. We don't know those things. We don't have those things. But in a
yeah,
counter racist mentality, as close as we can get.
Yeah, that's code right there. That's not the other book. That's United Independent Compensatory Code System concept right there.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was also reading in there how he asks, you know, being a parent, having kids in this system, can you actually call them your children, or should you call them your offspring? You know, and it
I
made me think.
asked the black female, if you can't protect your son, how can you say he's yours? If your son goes up and murders 20 people, he affected all those people. So how is he yours? You didn't approve of the murder. So those are just two polar examples. You can't protect them and you cannot stop and prevent them from doing harm to others. So how are they yours?
Yeah. Yeah. And due to the dynamics of how we have to exist, we have to be taken care of by white people, racist man and racist woman. It may look like we are taking care of ourselves by going to a job and getting a paycheck and paying us a rent, but it's really just white people taking care of us. You know, they maintain a job. You know, they maintain the areas that we live. And they sign our paycheck as well, and they put the money that the paycheck comes from. So white people control it all. So how can, if you function as a child, if you function as a child, how can you call yourself a parent, a mother, a father? And if, of course, if you can't protect that offspring, then you're certainly not that. Even, you know, animals can protect their offspring in most cases. But when it comes to people known as Black, people known as Asian, people known as Native American, anything that means non-white, the record shows we have not been able to protect our children because look who's in charge. You know, look who our children are learning from. Our so-called children are learning from. Not us at all. It's racist man and racist woman.
Sometimes we forget that we're not supposed to pay to be here. We're not supposed to toil for someone else so that we can be here. We're not supposed to. It's an illegitimate system from beginning to end. Bears don't pay to be here. Chickens don't. They don't got to punch a clock every day. Their comfort ain't directly determined by if they displease white people at work, so-called work. So none of it should be appreciated. It should be repudiated. And we should desire something more.
Another thing, how are these our children when CPS, aka white people, could come in and snatch up your kids at any point in time for any reason and just place them someplace else and you can't do nothing about it. And if you try, then they get other white people to enforce and snatch those kids. How are they our kids? How?
So not
I
only that,
think
now they make it.
what
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's okay, it's okay. I think what um so-called tempted parents forget is that you're teaching and educating this child to be out in the real world. So it's a reflection of you, of what you're learning and what you know, for you to educate that child on the system that's functioning, how the world is functioning, why the things that you think is normal is not normal, so that basically when you're not here, when you do, vanish, they'll know what they're learned to be taught as warriors in this system, instead of, oh, I'm a parent and I'm gonna be protected, or they're gonna be my child forever. You're just preparing them basically for the outside world. I think that's basically our job as attempted parents, not to be an actual parent, but just prepare them for the things that they have to do to change the system they are in.
Yeah, you're supposed to be bringing up a soldier, attempted counter racist. That is, if you're a non-white person, you have an offspring, and that's not what you're thinking. What you're bringing to this planet. Then tragic, because I can swipe. I just think I don't know. It's one thing I won't say I hate it, but I really think it's very tragic to see a number of non-white people happily bringing in these black babies to planet Earth, and all they do is make sure their black children is look dressed well, eating enough food. But as for telling the black offspring, okay, so this planet that we're on right now, all right, so there's a race war going on right now. White people have started a war against non-white people who look like us. So I gotta teach you some few things. I gotta teach you, you gotta be suspicious of all white people. You gotta, when they come around, you just gotta, have your eyes, just be focused on them, just, be aware that they're very deceptive, they're very dangerous, and as for, having a care mate, you definitely should not have a care mate with a white person. Very dangerous, and that's going to be rape. You can never have a balanced relationship with a white person unless we solve the race problem, which we're going to do. So yeah, there's a lot that we should be telling our offspring, but we don't. We absolutely don't, and it's a lot of it is due to fear and confusion. Yeah, but it's tragic. It's just, yep, it's tragic. I'm just gonna leave my mic.
Or sometimes you just don't know the answer to the question that to give them. Like I think she had a question for me because they do the Pledge of Allegiance in her class, and she doesn't stand up or she doesn't do it. So her teacher asks her, why don't you do the Pledge of Allegiance, or why are you not participating in it? And she told them, there's not justice for all, so why am I going to do it? And he told her, well, just do it anyway. So I kind of, when she asked me, I literally didn't know what to really tell her, because I don't want her to feel like she needs to do something that, she doesn't feel, is right in her heart. Because, of course, we don't have justice for all.
Listen to
But
what you just said. You said you don't want her to feel like she has to do something she doesn't want to do, right?
yeah,
You better let that go. That's what racism is. You're going to be pressured to do things you don't feel like doing. So
yeah,
stop protecting her from that. Tell her
yeah,
that fear that you feel when your teacher told you to do it anyway, fuck it.
yeah,
Sit down and don't open your mouth. If they put their hands on you, I'll be there. We gonna get last lick and we going to jail.
I
That's what it
gotta
is.
No, we're going to the
I gotta
bank.
agree.
We're going to
I
the
got
bank, and we're
to
going to be
agree.
very codified. Nah, we're not
You
gonna
tell your
promote.
offspring that,
Nah.
and they express that to that teacher. My mama coming, she gon' if you touch me, I said I'm not saying it. I'm not getting up. If you put your hands on me, it's gonna be the police here, because my mama coming
Exactly.
up here, and
Exactly.
she putting her hands on you. And I'll tell the principal, I'll tell the superintendent, I'll tell the governor. That's what it is in my house.
I gotta agree,
And it won't even have to go that far.
Yeah, because they shouldn't be forced to stand up if they don't want to. I mean, she's not
No,
wrong.
that's
wrong.
no. She is supposed to be forced under the system of white supremacy.
Yeah, but she's not
If they
wrong for
can
not
force her.
wanting to.
Yeah, no, not at all. But that's what it is. That's what being a victim of racism is. You gonna
Exactly.
feel horrible at times. Fear, anxiety, but you're gonna have to do what you're gonna have to do. And if that means don't do something, then that's what it is. We need to get over this idea that feelings ain't supposed to happen. You're supposed to be having fear and anxiety. That's a sign that you are outnumbered, outpowered. Period. That's what it is. God gave you fear. Go on and have it. that don't mean you got to be a coward or break or do something, you know.
Yeah, and
That's what a code is. I know what I'm gonna do. I don't give a damn how I feel, you feel, we feel. I know what I'm gonna do. Now
yeah.
you gonna do what you gonna do, and I already know what I'm gonna do if you do this, or this. I know your options, so I'm gonna have mine. Period.
Yeah, Miss Johnson. Yeah, that was a. I don't. Did you tell her that she doesn't have to stand up, or did you Because it sounded like
No, I told her she don't have to. I just didn't want. I mean, she has a right not to. I mean, she gave him a real answer. It wasn't like,
yeah, very logical answer. It's
yeah,
very but very profound answer from a small victim of racism. Yeah, and then you can just let her teach her more of that.
yeah.
You just teach her what Neely Ford say. I relate to the flag the same way the flag relates
The
to me.
compensatory pledge. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell her.
I hereby relate to this flag in the exact same way it relates to me.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Something along those lines, because we must tell teach our offspring codification. That is that if we're not doing that, there's just thousands of books written that says, hey, if you're not doing this, you're failing as a parent. If you're not doing that, you're definitely failing as an attempted parent. Teaching your offspring about the code. I know you're doing that, Miss Johnson, but just speaking to the non-white collective who mostly are not doing that. And when my victim siblings or anyone asks me, are you gonna have offspring? What I say is that I don't know if I'm ready to bring another slave to this planet. I don't know if I'm ready. That's literally what I say. It's really I have to do a lot of thinking about bringing a slave to planet Earth. So because it's real serious. Having an offspring, but racist men and racist women have made it. Team mommed it up, has made it such a frivolous thing to produce another person, another victim of racism, and now we have another. You just have victims. Yeah, it's just bad. I'm just gonna mute my mic for a bit.
I agree.
I mean, everybody says something, definitely decent, especially, I mean, at the end of the day, this system, we all trying to defeat it in some way, shape, or form, or we should be at least trying to. I mean, I don't think, Miss Johnson did anything wrong. She, talked to her little girl right. Eventually, you can tell from her answer that she gonna come into her own, you know what I'm saying, which is a good thing. And this is what we need to encourage. Like the brother said, we need to be teaching them these things, man, because as he already said in the book, education, that's the second area. White supremacy control that they already been teaching us when we was kids to hate ourselves. Teaching us that they were supreme beings to us. So we need to reverse that. We got to teach ours, what we learning now. So that when they
They
get
need,
to our,
they need to understand that they're just like the code that you want to give them. The racists have a code. If you do not comply, you will not get a certain level of comfort that they would give to other slaves who comply. So offspring need to know. Listen, you probably ain't gonna get a whole bunch of academic awards. You're gonna have further problems with these people called teachers. They're really racist. Don't forget that. Mrs. Miller, she's a hostile adversary to your advancement as a person. So when you resist Mr. Miller or Mr. Gravy, know that down the hall, Mr. Bison, he gonna be on you. So don't get your giddy hopes up about Harvard and all that. Because if you're gonna resist him, you might not get their approval for a bunch of shit. So know that there's gonna be some sacrifice, and you're not gonna be as comfortable maybe as others who comply. They need to know the full scale. This is not fucking ABC special where they're gonna be some little righteous little getting an award or something.
So I wanted to, ask, a question, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody gonna have the same answer. Somebody might have different, but because I think this applies to everything that we're talking about. The recent killing of our brother Patrick Lawyer. In what area of activity do you think that affect from white supremacy that's controlling it and that's allowing it to continue to happen without repercussions at all? Now this is a serious issue. What area?
I'll go. Can I go first?
That's not fair.
Fair. Someone said fair, but I think it definitely affects all 9 areas. But I'm just gonna. I personally only have one brother in this chat and one brother outside of this chat. Patrick was not a brother of mine. He was a fellow victim of racism, and how he lost his existence is evident that he was not my brother because I was not able to protect him, and he was a victim because he was murdered by race soldiers. So I don't like to be super blunt, and in real existence, people who are not related to me do not call me brother. I let them, don't call me brother. So because we're not allowed to, treat each other brotherly or sisterly. So that's my thought. And it affects all 9 areas because, it's time and energy. Seeing those images is damaging to the mind of a non-white person, especially a Black person. It's tragic to see us killed like this over and over and over. It's really not good for us, for our mind, especially if we're more confused, and we're gonna get very, very sad and angry about it and not understand. Oh, all right, race wars is waging, and they take out another one of us, and there will be many, many more. Especially if we don't practice code, don't fight, don't fuss, don't flee. There's gonna be tons of more Patricks, unfortunately, because this is how the system is designed. So time and energy, it affects that. Education, we should be learning from it. We should definitely be learning from it. And I could really spend a lot of time talking about this, going through all 9 areas and how it affects all of them, but I'll let other folks want to answer the question.
I would also agree, multiple areas. At first I thought war, definitely, but it definitely, as all areas, one area affects another. They're all intertwined. I think about politics, people relations, these killings of non-white males, non-white people in general, affects how people relate to one another, white and non-white. Laws, I mean, I suspect that nothing will be done, but I see it affects all areas of people activity.
Okay. Anybody else would like to, give a thoughts on that specific topic? I mean, the brothers answered that, very decent. The main, I would just focus on 2. I agree though, that does, obviously affect all 9 areas of activity, but I would say 2 in particular. And those 2 would be politics and law. Because, the politics or the politicians are the ones who passing these laws and continuing to make these laws biased or towards all non-Black people, that's allowing, these senseless barbaric uh, murders to take place. And the sad thing is, as the brother said first, or excuse me, as the comrade said first, was it's damaging, especially to like imagine little children or teenagers is constantly seeing this, man, just getting their license or just graduating high school, and they constantly seeing these images is damaging. And you know, it's a hurtful thing, man. You know, not, but it's an empowering thing to be a black man. More importantly, these days, just to know that you are so feared, man, that you have so much oppression and energy going against you and your downfall. So it's like you have to be strong every day, you know, and that's an empowering feeling. But it's also damaging, you know, to continue to see again no repercussions, no you know, no results, no punishments. You know, literally these people are getting paid leave, going fishing, eating steaks, continuing to live life. I mean, again, Amir Locke was murdered this year, about 2, 3 months ago. Rest in power. Mark Hanneman is literally back on the force. Haven't seen a day in court. You know, so politics and law, definitely, because they're, I believe, the two areas of white supremacy that's going to stay concrete and continuing to make sure that those laws are biased and made to go against those non-black people and have people get off without repercussions, as we can see.
But you got to think of entertainment as well. As far as media, the news, they're showing this. This is all we see on the news, online, on a computer, on social media, is black males and black females getting killed by the hands of the white men. So I had my child come up to me and tell me that she saw it on the news. She saw the whole video. She didn't see where he got shot to death or on the floor, but she seen the whole video. These are what these kids are seeing. So entertainment wise, is to cause an uproar or a protest or
Yeah.
et cetera, to get us out there to basically think we're getting the job done when in reality, you know, that's not doing anything.
I agree. I mean, that was good 2 points, you know, because definitely media, you know, entertainment, they're definitely a part because they are the ones who constantly flooding, you know, all forms of media with these images, these messages, texts about these consistent, you know, senseless murders of non-black people all across this country on a day-to-day basis, literally. And, you know, because that's something that I was constantly thinking about. You know, like I said, I write, and you know, this is something that I'm writing in my book that's coming out called "The Perfect Time for Revolution." You know, and it's just because of the consistency of this. It's not has been a hiccup in it or a stall, no break, no pause. It's like they got the pedal to the metal. You know, literally a war on non-black people in all shapes and forms. And you know, it's like we wake up at war, even if we don't know it. You know, if you're depending on public transportation, you're depending on white supremacy, they can ruin your life because you know you're not going to get to work on time this day or that day, or your boss, or your wages. You know, as soon as you get up, we facing it. And, you know, I just thought that that would be a good topic to hear everybody's thoughts on. You know, because it seems like this is something that's not going to change, and you know that's why you know we need to continue these discussions, these uh, circles of knowledge, man, of like-minded people that's trying to constantly keep the foot on the oppressor when it comes to coming up with some type of logical ideas, strategic plans on how we can individually or united do something to destroy some type of areas of activity, if not all, when it comes to white supremacy.
I think another area that the Patrick terrorist attack, the murder of Patrick can is from is war 9, area 9, war, counter war. You know, we are, like you said, we wake up. I'm gonna refine it, but we wake up and there's a war being waged against us, and most of us do not have that understanding, which is why it's so easy for Patricks to become Patricks, to become victims who are killed by race soldiers. Because someone mentioned entertainment. It, you know, seeing a black male killed by a race soldier is entertainment for a lot of people classified as white who may be racist and who are racist. This, you know, if one does some research, you know, go on Chimp Out, go any area in the internet where white people are talking about so-called political stuff. You know, what happened with a so-called police officer killing a black person. They're making jokes about that. They're making memes about it right now as I speak. You know, Patrick is becoming a meme. White people are justifying it and laughing about it because this is racist entertainment. This is no different from how they were lynching us when it was the black and white days. I know where they're chopping off our penises and put them in jars. So this is nothing new. This is the war has been going on for a very long time. We just need to become aware of it, counter it, and develop the will to yeah, because Mr. Gabriel said destroy the areas. I would, me personally, I'm just trying to replace, you know, the system with justice. I said, and if some you know, constructive destroying has to be done, then of course that makes logical sense. But replacing the system is my my total and priority focus.
That's a good point too. Also, you know, this goes towards entertainment as well, but I believe it's important. That's why I'm mentioning it. You know, like, how do you deal with, you know, how do we deal with, you know, when you have other non-black people that's going against you, non-black people, for the white supremacist structures. So, like, for instance, you know, everybody may have, or some people listen to, you know, hip hop or whatever, some versions, you know, everybody listens to it. I mean, some of the stuff, you know, it's dumb, ignorant, stupid. But my point is the recent release of a particular song called Akata. Akata is a Nigerian word used by Nigerians to insult black people in the United States. A label in this country, rap, that's big, I ain't gonna mention the name, released that song. Y'all can find out on your own. And it's non-black people rapping this song to a beat, which is going to have other non-black people riding around to this beat, disrespecting themselves for white supremacy and not even knowing it. So how can you even, you know, how can we even start to combat this to further combat the big issue, which is white supremacy?
Don't get distracted.
Yeah,
Like, don't get distracted. The goal
yeah,
is replace the system with the system of justice. The goal is to become universal man and universal woman. That's what you focus on. It's a united, independent system. It's everything that's going wrong. Don't get distracted by that. Nothing is supposed to go right. It's business as usual. Your focus is on becoming a universal man and producing justice. What do you need to do right now that is constructive? How are you going to get that constructive result? All these other non-white people are distractions. They are tools for white supremacy. And white supremacists, when they're done with their tools, they will break them. You will see it happen.
Mm.
Just stay out of the way, literally. You're at work, some non-black, non-white person is trying to cause conflict with you. You go to the white supremacists. You stay on code. You stick to work. I need to do X, Y, Z. My boss needs me to do this. Don't engage in personal conversations. They're another prisoner. They just have a little bit more privilege than you for now, because that can change. Your job is not to pay attention to them. They're going to come up to you, hey, and then talking all the stereotypical Negro stuff with you. Don't respond to it. Say, hello, how are you doing? Good morning. And leave it at that. And go on about your business. You're about the business of justice. They're still confused. When they're ready to not be confused, then they can ask the questions and get themselves where they're not confused. They're not your concern. Your concern is what you want to do that is constructive. Everything else, don't get distracted by it.
Damn, that's powerful, sister. Like I needed to hear that. That's what's up. Like for real, you know what I'm saying? That's some good shit.
And I would add that racist man and racist woman, their business is designed to churn out victims who don't like themselves or each other. So the Akata situation you mentioned is no different from victims of racism. And this particular race camp, known as the United States, we have rappers, victims of racism, rap about shooting black people in the face and robbing black people, who literally teach other black males how to perform, drive-bys and, assassinations on other non-white people. So white people are to blame for this, and they're going to keep churning this out until racism is no longer on the planet. It's like a prison. I'm pretty sure when the average prisoner leaves the prison is not, lacking, it's not getting more space. I'm pretty sure more people are coming in than going out. That's just how the system is designed. It's going to be way more prisoners, to distract you from the warden. It's always more prisoners than the warden, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. To add as well, looking back, I bring up that white suspected racist again. It's no different if it was another victim of racism. That the victims of racism across the planet are being propped up to distract us from establishing a system of justice. The white supremacists will use white people. They will use other victims of racism to do it. So it's important that we don't get distracted. Their goal is to practice racism, white supremacy. Our goal is to establish a system of justice. So they'll use whatever they can to prevent us from doing that. Oftentimes they will use, like O5 said, there are more victims. So they're going to use a lot of victims so that we are focused on each other and not on them, taking the focus off of the racists and the true creators of the problems on the planet, to focus on victims of racism making songs and attacking one another, all this kind of stuff. That distracts us from the problem. That's just my opinion about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. It's just, to me, it's just like, it's like how, at what point, with some people, you would think that, but then again, I think about myself, like the brother Evolution for Justice was saying, because it took me a minute to even get to this point where I'm at now, and I ain't really nowhere. So it's like, you become comfortable to some point. It's like that, some people just comfortable, You know, and I guess, you know, it's just like they, you know, don't even want to hear. You know, some people don't even like to talk about this type of stuff. Get a headache. You know, they rather talk about, you know, other stuff, man. You know, it's like you got. That's why I say association breeds similarity. You know, I wanted to get around some people who have like mindsets that, you know, I can have dialogues with. You know, can actually make some stuff happen. You know, again, like I said, I don't just talk it. You know, y'all can check me out. I ain't really got a lot, but I'm doing something. You know, and I back it up. So, you know, I want to be around other like-minded people so we can continue this. You know, we can actually implement some of these codes, these actions that his brother Neely Fuller put out for us, like jewels, man. You know, actually implement these in our lives to try to defeat some of this system, and you know, in any way possible. And you know, that's just something that, you know, I just want to, you know, try to go ahead and get started. You know, it's been started, but you know, I want to be a part of it. You know, and I want to, you know, help any way I can, contribute. You know, because this is something that's serious.
Can I be heard?
You may.
Um, this is going back to the killings. Aside from being extremely traumatized slash desensitized by those things, I would expect to see that more and more, along with the mass shootings, due to the what 0526 was saying, like it's designed that way and it's designed to exacerbate in a way. But like these race soldiers are supposed to eliminate the non-white black male population because they pose the direct threat to their genetic annihilation, you know, because racism, white supremacy, I suspect the underlying cause is the fear of that white genetic annihilation, like the fear of not being allowed to exist on planet Earth, you know, and going against nature in a way. But I'm not surprised when I see black males killed by race soldiers. I expect to see it, and then the videos are part of the ritual. You know, it's black male, check. Got a video, cell phone footage, check. Got them screaming, check. You know, and you got the police on leave, are back on the force, check. It's supposed to happen, and it's designed to keep us in this state. And maybe if some black males got together and initiated some attempt at a counter war at a targeted entity, maybe something would happen. But we've been made so conditioned to kill people who have black skin that the thought of, you know, doing that to people who are directly targeting and murdering them, doesn't seem like it would manifest in their minds to do that, you know. But it'd be interesting to see it happen. Because recently there was a giant shooting in New York, and no one was murdered. You know, black male was shooting, supposedly, allegedly. You know, I'm not sure what actually happened. I haven't seen any videos, and the videos I have seen are people running away laughing, like they're having fun getting shot at. So I don't even know what was going on. Maybe he was shooting in the air and it's all blown out of proportion. Not sure, not certain.
Well, I mean, I can't. It has been a few attempts though, far as you know, I guess you could say just black men pent up aggression actually taking it out on pigs. I mean, I can name two off the top of my head. You know, like, you know, I wrote about them. I got a few blogs too. You know, that's why I say, if I got time, check me out. But it has been, you know, a couple of actual job successful attempts actually. But of course, at the end, we all know who's going to win. They outnumber us to a point. You know, they got all the ornaments of war that we could never attain at the moment. You know, so like they could, but it's been attempts though. You know, so you right to some extent, but it got to be better organized. It can't be, it has to be, something unanimous upon all non-white people that's fed up on that same mindset. It can't be a neighborhood or a group. It has to be a nation of non-white people with that same like-minded mentality. Then, we can start to see some shit get the road.
Are you familiar with the 10 basic stops from the code, Mr. Gabriel?
The 10 basic stops.
Yep.
I can't recall them off the top of my head.
All right, that's fine. Do you have the word guy by any chance?
Yeah, I got it right here. I can pull it up.
Yeah, I think it's in the. You can find it in there. Yeah, it's in the. I think it's in the B section if I remember correctly.
Good.
Yeah, it's on page 23. I read this so many times, so I'm not gonna read it for on air, but I think it would be constructive for somebody to read it on the air, the broadcast. It's on page 23 on the word guide if anyone would like to read it.
All right,
If not,
yeah. I mean, if somebody has it like right there, more accessible, like they can go ahead and pull it up.
does anybody have the word guide available?
I don't have a copy of the word guide. I would read it, but I don't have a copy. I can. What is it? I know some of them off the top of my head. Stop name calling. Stop stealing. Stop robbing. Stop pretending. Well, that I usually like to save that one for last. But stop pretending racism, white supremacy doesn't exist. Stop. Those are all the ones I can remember at the moment. Stop throwing trash where Black people work and live.
No, you're doing good. You're blending because some of those are just from the 17 stops from Dr. Francis Cresswell. But
Yeah.
Neely Fuller, I remember Neely Fuller. I just wanted to read his exact words, but his 10 basic stops are, I'm not just going to paraphrase them. The first one I think is stop snitching. And when what he means by snitching is like, giving information to racist men and racist women because you think when you give them information, it's going to benefit you, and that is, damaging because, more times than not, you snitching on a non-white person is of course going to harm that non-white person. And then he has another one, a really important one, stop name calling, and then stop gossiping, stop cursing, stop being discourteous. That's a really important one because a lot of non-white people, they confuse courtesy with respect. When someone is not courteous to us. We think we are being disrespected. You think we're not being treated correctly, but that's actually a courtesy. So we need to be more courteous to one another. So stop being discourteous is a big one, I think. And stop stealing, stop robbing, and stop fighting, and stop killing, unless, when it's logical to do so, like in defense. And yeah, stop squabbling. And the last one I think is to stop getting in conflict with one another and then having the race soldiers, law enforcement come settle it. That's very common. We get very common behavior. And here's another sort of list type thing called ghetto glorification. That's also an excellent concept, ghetto glorification. But yeah, that's the 10 basic stops. And just by doing some of these, just non-white people doing just some of these, and enough of us doing some of these, this will just retard the system, because the system functions heavily on us doing these things 24/7. So if we just stop doing a number of these, and I would like to say all of them, if possible, it would do wonders towards, literally destroying the white supremacy. Yeah. And this is like the fuel. This fuels racism, white supremacy, and this would be like, draining its fuel of incorrect non-white behavior we have been trained to partake in.
I also like to remember the 3 T's, and then know the difference between the tragic arrangement and the quality relationship, and study what universal man, universal woman is in the code book, because there are like a list of things that are put in the code book on the revised expanded edition, what the universal person is supposed to do. So once you get those 10 stops, the next step is the 4 questions. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? How do you plan to do it? And what do you expect the constructive result to be? And then find where the, excuse me, study the characteristics of universal people, because that's the end goal. It can't happen until the system is replaced, but you can still at least study what those characteristics are and do them. And then the quality relationship in universal man, universal woman starts on page 168 of the code book, the revised expanded edition, and it goes on to about page 170. And just a few things that universal people do: does not knowingly say anything that is not true, does not knowingly withhold information from anyone who needs it for constructive purposes, speaks and acts to end racism, white supremacy, and replace it with justice, balance between people in all areas of activity. And then it's like just focus on a few things at a time. Always ask yourself questions, always stop and give yourself time to think.
Yeah, definitely urge folks to go to producejustice.com, get their copy of the code book and the word guide. Super helpful to help ones refine their diction, their word choice, and just to diminish a lot of confusion, because yeah, definitely necessary. The word guide, please invest in yourself and the war effort. From the chat, line 22 says, Dr. Francis Chris Wilson said, if Black people did the 10 stops, then racism will be over. Probably very accurate. I think that's a very logical assumption. Well, I guess we can definitely close out. I'm gonna read from Nyan Sasim. I'm gonna read the revolutionary quote of the day, and then that will be my final comment. And if folks want to share a final comment afterwards, then of course feel free. But this is from Nyan Sasim, a calendar of revolutionary daily thoughts by Mawalimu K. Baruti. Evolutions for Justice. If you want to correct my pronunciation of his name, go for it. But yeah, Nyan Sasim, and this is from April. You say it again.
Mwalimu Baruti.
There we go. This is from his text. This is from page, not from page, but this is from April 18th. And we have been led to believe it is April 18th, 2022. We must get over the plantation pride. Hold on one second. All right. So this is from April 18th. We must not get over the plantation pride about the number of Negroes in the big house. Albert B. Cleage Jr. It is such a comical but sad sight to watch people who are thoroughly ignorant of their own or historical genius, so determined to be accepted by those they now consider their superiors, that each approximation of them they achieve is worthy of commemoration and gives reason for great pronouncement and celebration. The logic is simple. In our proud celebrations of Black First, we applaud Africans for finally repeating or building on the accomplishments already done by Europeans. We act as if we began here, not even pretending that sub-integration is not our immediate and total assimilation and disappearance into whiteness, not our ultimate goal. While this criticism is not designed to negate the genius of any of our accomplishments here and elsewhere, it should force us to place them in the context of 10,000 years of magnificence. We must measure ourselves and this lesser reality against the time when we were uncompromised, God-like spiritual beings. So to now take pride in what we have finally accomplished is ludicrous and self-demeaning at best. Taking pride in advancement is one thing, but celebrating those who are the best at being the least of who we are is quite another. Those most honored for being the great imitators of those who have attempted to reduce us to less than who we are should give us nothing to celebrate. Affirm, I take no pride in the glorification of Negro favorites. And I'll mute my mic. If folks want to share a closing comment, please feel free. If not, we can head out.